Hello, today I'm back with a discography review, this time for the band Blink-182. And I did hear the news that the band will be going back on tour. And another big thing is that they're back with Tom DeLonge and they'll be dropping a new song later this week, the 14th, if I remember correctly. And yeah, all really exciting news. Definitely has me excited for the future for Blink-182. And sadly, the band isn't coming to my area. The closest city that's near me for this upcoming tour is Seattle, which is 4 hours away from me, so kind of on the fence about that. I mean, of course I got plenty of time to think about whether or not I want to go drive all the way to Seattle, but anyways, I did see the band with Matt though, and that was also my first ever concert. And with that show, I did get this shirt here. And overall, it's a pretty good show. They did play some deep cuts. They did play Dysentery Gary, which is one of my all-time favorite Blink-182 songs. So I got really excited when they played that one. But anyways, let's go ahead and dive into this discography. It all started with their debut album, Cheshire Cat. And they did do this demo album here, Buddha. But again, Cheshire Cat is their debut album. And overall, it's a decent album. Not great, not amazing, but overall, again, a decent album, a decent start to the discography. One of those albums for me where you could say strong first half, but weaker second half. I mean, the second half has some decent stuff. Wasting Time is probably my favorite in the second half, but I think the album starts off really strong with the first 5 songs. But Carousel, M&M's, and Touchdown Boy are easily my favorites on the album, but yeah. Decent album from the band, but definitely not one of the best. But then we move to an album where I think they do even better with Dude Ranch. And yeah, honestly, I'd rank this album as one of their best. It's also their final album with Scott. And some of my favorites on here: Pathetic, Damn It, Waggy, Apple Shampoo, Josie, and Lemmings. Those are probably, again, my favorites. I really like Josie. That's probably one of my favorite Blink-182 songs. The song is just heavy, fast, and all around pretty catchy. Blink-182, definitely one of those bands that definitely does a really good job with writing hooks. But also another big thing with this album is that I think it has pretty good deep cuts. And some songs I think are kind of overlooked, like Enthused and Boring. While Boring is one of the more shorter tracks on here. It's not even 2 minutes, but still, I really dig the main riff of that song. But yeah, pretty good album from Blink-182, and again, one of my personal favorites from the band. Then enters Travis Barker with this album, Enema of the State. Often considered one of their best, and for good reason. I mean, you really can't go wrong with any of the songs on here. I mean, many great songs like Dumpweed, What's My Age Again, Dysentery Gary, again, one of my favorite Blink-182 songs. And you know, the hits on this album I still think are pretty good. Adam's Song. I even still like All the Small Things. I think the album closes off in a strong manner with the song Anthem. But yeah, pretty good album from Blink-182, and even the lesser known songs on the album are pretty good, like Don't Leave Me and Mutt and Windy Clear. But yeah, again, pretty good album from Blink-182, and again, definitely one of their best. And then we move to the album Take Off Your Pants and Jacket. And definitely pretty good follow-up to Enema of the State. Another album that's often considered one of their best, and for good reason too. I mean, some of my favorites on here: Anthem, Part 2, Online Songs, First Day, which is probably one of my favorites when it comes to their singles, and also one of my favorite Blink-182 songs. I mean, Stay Together for the Kids, another strong song on the album. You do move towards the second half where you have some of the deep cuts, or some songs that I think are kind of overlooked, kind of like songs like Roller Coaster, Give Me One Good Reason, Every Time I Look For You. But yeah, again, definitely one of the band's strongest albums. The band further proving with this album that they can write strong hooks, and they got a good ear for writing what's catchy. I mean, again, the hits are great, and even the lesser known songs, like, again, Roller Coaster, Online Songs, and Give Me One Good Reason are pretty good. But yeah, again, really strong album from Blink-182. And then we move to their self-titled album, Blink-182. So yeah, you can definitely hear a bit of maturity in this album. I mean, you can definitely hear how much they've matured from up to this point. And yeah, I mean, for some people, they might not think this album is as strong as the previous two albums, but still, I think this album is overall pretty solid. I'd maybe rank it as one of their best, actually. And some of my favorites on here, Feeling This, one of my all-time favorite Blink-182 songs. I believe at the show, when I saw them with Matt, I think they opened up with that song, and that definitely got me really excited because, again, I really like the song Feeling This. Definitely one of their best songs. Obvious, another favorite of mine on the album. Of course, you have the big song on here, I Miss You. And maybe a song I've heard more than I've needed to, but still, overall, a good song. Violence and Stockholm Syndrome are also really good. Stockholm Syndrome maybe being one of the catchiest songs on here. I don't know, I really like that one. Down is pretty good. You do move towards the second half where the material is not as strong, but still, you get some pretty good stuff like Enema, if I pronounce that correctly. I really like that song a lot. You also have the song Always, another single off the album. Easy Target, a decent track, but yeah, overall, pretty good album from Blink-182, and honestly, I'd maybe rank it as one of their best too. But then we hear nothing from the band until the early 2010s, where they come back with this album right here, Neighborhoods. An album I think gets better with time. I mean, I wouldn't rank it as one of their best, but still, pretty solid album from the band. I mean, I have the deluxe edition, which comes with the song Snake Charmer, which if you haven't heard that song, definitely check it out. Or if you haven't heard it in a while, definitely give it another listen. I think a song that I think should have been on the regular edition, or deserved to be on the regular edition. But yeah, really strong song. But when it comes to the regular songs on here, or part of the songs on the regular edition, I mean, some of my favorites, Natives, Up All Night. I really like Wishing Well. That's a contender for maybe being my favorite song on the album. But yeah, you do get some songs I think are kind of overlooked on the album. Like, again, Natives, which if you like early Blink, I don't see why you'd have an issue with that song. I mean, the song, it's one of the more faster songs on here, and also has the catchiness that you expect from Blink. But also Kaleidoscope, This Is Home, and MH418 2011. Those two songs I think are pretty underrated on the album also. But yeah, pretty solid album again from Blink-182. Wouldn't rank it as one of their best, but still solid. So yeah, enters Matt Skiba with this album, California, and overall, I like this album. Another album that, again, might not rank it as one of their best, but still, when it comes to the two Matt Skiba albums, I think this is the better one. I mean, some of my favorites on here, the first three tracks, Cynical, Bored to Death, She's Out of Her Mind. I also really like the song Sober, easily one of the strongest songs on the album, in my opinion. But you also have the song Left Alone, definitely one of the big gems on the album, in my opinion, and probably one of the best songs to come from the Matt Skiba era, in my opinion. I really like Left Alone a lot. Really good song. Title track I also enjoy. But yeah, there are maybe a few skippable songs on the album, but still, overall, pretty good album from Blink-182. If you weren't into it the first time, definitely give it another listen, definitely give it another chance. But then they came out with the deluxe edition of California, and which comes with the second disc, and I'll be honest, most of these songs I rarely go back to. I think it's honestly some of the band's weakest material. But again, that's just my personal opinion, and there's some good stuff like Parking Lot, 6 out of 8. I think Wildfire is alright, but honestly the rest of the tracks on CD2 are kind of take it or leave it. Nothing terrible, but again, take it or leave it. You do have an acoustic version of Bored to Death, but again, I can live without it. And I mean, it's fine, but nothing I'd listen to over and over. But yeah, again, CD2, it's fine, but definitely has some of their weakest material in my opinion. But again, there's some good stuff like Parking Lot and 6 out of 8. Now let's go ahead and move on to their latest album, 9. So yeah, definitely one of their most accessible sounding, one of their most poppiest, and for some people this is definitely one of their weakest, or it's often considered one of the weakest honestly at this point, but still a decent album I'd say. I mean, there's some good stuff on here, like The First Time, yeah, definitely one of my favorites on the album. Dark Side I think is the strongest of the singles, at least in my opinion, and also one of the best songs on here. You also have the two songs Pin the Grenade and No Heart to Speak of, which I think are kind of overlooked, kind of underrated, and maybe some of the best songs to come from the Matt Skiba era, especially Pin the Grenade. I mean, I really like that song a lot, definitely one of my favorites on the album. Ransom, a shorter track on here, also pretty good. Even Generational Divide, which I think, if I remember correctly, is like a hair under a minute. One of the faster songs on the album. It's energetic and still pretty good song, I'd say. I wouldn't rank it as one of my favorites on here, but still, I do like the song. But yeah, overall, a decent album from Blink, but definitely one of their weakest in my opinion. But anyways, that's my review of their discography. Let me know your thoughts on my review. Do you agree or disagree with some of my thoughts? Let me know some of your favorite or least favorite songs or albums from this band. Are you going to see them on tour, this upcoming tour, and all the good stuff. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please leave a comment and a like, subscribe. Have a nice day, and take care.